Welcome to lesson 4 of the Pergamano Summer School. How are we all doing today? Tuesday again, weather's changed again. It's just, the time just flies by. It's just this, it feels as if only yesterday we was here getting education from the lovely Linda with the 4-needle tool. Oops, that should be my buzzword to say that the lovely Jilly can hear me. Yes, thank you. So Jilly can hear me. So hopefully everybody at home can hear me as well. I've just got to switch that screen over. There we go. Had the wrong screen in front of me. Good morning, Catherine, Marilyn, Helen, Lynn, Sue, Bernie. How are we all doing on this fine Tuesday morning? I'm going to ask Linda when we speak to her what the weather's like. Should we have a guess on what weather Linda's got down in Wales? I reckon rain, overcast. I can see Linda looking out of her window, just checking to see what the weather's doing. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the lovely Linda Williams. Gosh, it feels like a long time ago since I was here, but it was only last week.
Good morning.
Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. You panicked me then. I've been so busy this morning. I had not looked out of the windows to see if it's raining.
Have you not been for a walk today then?
No, not on a Tuesday. Now, you've ruined that. You know that, don't you? I haven't got time on Tuesday morning.
Oh, dear. So what is the weather like down in lovely Wales?
Well, it's overcast. It's a bit wet, but it's not actually falling from the sky at the moment. So
that's good.
So
we had a lot of heavy rain down here in Kent yesterday. It was torrential, and then according to the forecast, it's meant to be dry now for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I think we've got it dry as well. Yeah.
Who knows?
On the weekend, then.
Say that again.
Barbecue on the weekend.
Barbecue, yeah. Fingers crossed, maybe. Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
So you've had a busy week then, Linda?
It's been really busy. Yes, I've been churning designs out like there's no tomorrow. And I'm particularly fussy. I design something and then I move it about and then I fiddle with it and the layout's not right. So it's got to be just right, and I move a few lines about, and so I am pretty fussy when I design something. It's never right first time.
That's right. And you know what it's all about, and I think it shows in your design work, and I think that's why it's so popular, because it's not just created for the sake of creating it. There's always a lot of thought and energy that goes into it, and all the different little elements that you put on the designs as well.
I always try and think, if I was doing this afresh, what would I do? I always look at it with a view to someone using it for embossing as well, rather than just doing the white line art and colouring. So I look at it from different aspects, and I do try and cram as much as I can in there. There's times that I've had to take things out and I've put them on the side in the hope that I'll use them again, and I forget what I've got. I go into files and think, I didn't use that, So yeah.
Brilliant. So this week we're looking at where's my book gone?
5-needle tool this week.
5-needle tool, exactly. So we've got that here. So again, we're working through volume 1, and we've got the lovely sampler that you've created, together with the sampler sort of layout with the guide on where to do the embossing and picot cutting. And then we've got the actual pattern itself that we obviously need to photocopy to use for today's lesson.
Yeah. If you look at the page before that, Paul, there we are. See that little pattern down the bottom? I'm going to cover that this morning. It's called a 5-needle tool with a twist. It's just a basic perforation, an embossed dot in the middle, and then a twist. So I'll change my screen now. Ready to start, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I will hand you over to the lovely Linda. I will be sitting in the corner. Whoops, he says. There we go.
Turn this up for you. Yes. There you go. You can see that the get something to point with. So this is your basic 5 needle tool work.
Yeah.
There, okay, and you can see the holes have been made bigger with the 1 needle tool, and then with this one you can see that those holes are extended, so that's called a 5 needle with a twist, and it gives you a really good pattern. So you can make your border without twisting, or you can actually incorporate the twist into your border as well. You have to be careful about where you twist and which ones you twist, because if they're joined up, you can end up making a slit that's going, one slit that's going in 2 directions, and it does make that really untidy, but I'll explain that to you in a minute. So
Okay.
we're going to do just a little basic row to start with. Let me move this out of the way. I've got my piece of parchment, my picot form, my ruler, and my 5 needle tool. Let me change my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. And remember what I said now, to rub your parchment with your tumble dryer sheet before you actually start to perforate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to turn that over now, because that's going to be on the back. Because you rub your tumble dryer sheet over on the back. Okay. And I'm going to take my 5 needle tool and I'm just going to perforate a few perforations now. I'm using my ruler to try and keep them in a row. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going to do a few random ones here now. So click, click.
It's very satisfying, that sound, isn't it?
Okay. And then I'm going to get my embossing mat in. And on my embossing mat, I'm going to put the cello bag. So that
Okay.
Okay. Right. So that's the front where I perforated. So I'm going to turn it over now to do the embossing. And I prefer to use a 1.5mm ball to emboss the dots in these 5 needle, within these 5 needle perforations. Now, you're going to have a job keeping that mid-center dot from flattening, but it doesn't matter. Flatten it now to show you. So I'm filling the gap.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So you can use a smaller tool and put a smaller circle in the middle, but it always looks nicer if you fill the space. So I'm going right up to the perforations on the edge as well. And you don't have to do that up and down, back and forth with this, because you're perforating a hole in the middle anyway. It doesn't matter if you've got a grey dot. Okay, so I can get those nice and white to start with without going back in. So I'll take my...
Are you able just to hold that up a little bit, Linda, so we can see in a little bit more closer detail?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you've literally taken away that perforation in the middle by doing the white work over the top.
Yes, you can hardly see it. So I'm going to put my thicker mat underneath my picot form. I've got the 12 by 12 here today because I didn't have it with me last week. Naughty girl. So I'm going to re-perforate now, okay? So this time I'm going to use my 1 needle tool because I want to re-perforate with a twist. If I was just leaving those as they were, I would use the 1 needle tool for neatness. But you can't twist with a 1 needle tool, can you? It's because you're not going to go anywhere. So you need the 5 needle tool to twist. I'm going to turn it over now. So remember, perforate on the front, emboss on the back. So I'm back on the front now, okay? And I'm going to reinsert the 5 needle tool. This time a little bit deeper. Don't go too deep. Let me use my groovy guard. There we are, to keep it nice and flat. So there, I'm in there now, okay?
Okay, yeah.
I'm not going that far in actually. Just sort of, I would say 1/3. That's what I do, 1/3. I never re-perforate fully. And because you're twisting, you really don't want to go in too far anyway. And when you twist, all you do is a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. and remove. And that should give you a really nice, also good picture. So I'll do it again. So you can see now we're reperforating all the holes together. So positioning is key here. And when you perforate, your tool should always be upright. Don't go perforating at an angle. I might not have said this before. If you perforate at an angle, then when you come and when you come to cut, your scissors will go in at an angle as well, and you won't get a really nice picot. If I was to turn that over now, see if I can demonstrate. We can
actually see, that the dots to the left of the screen, they seem a little bit more prominent than the ones on the right.
It's uneven. So that applies to anything, any of the needle tools you use. Always reperforate with your tool at a 90-degree angle to the paper, upright. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'll do the twist again now for you to see. So it's...
You're not going to start singing, are you, Linda?
No, there is a twist and shout. So if I twist too much, the center will fall out.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
So you've got to be careful, and you've got to try it. So you can do a little twist. So I'm going in a third. So you've got a little twist there. I'll do this one, and I'll do it a little bit bigger, but you've got to be really careful.
So you're sort of twisting to the left, going back to the middle, and then twisting to the right.
One is bigger than the other.
Yeah.
You really have to know when to stop. So twist to the left, twist to the right. Always keeping the tool in the same position. I'm not that tool is pivoting round that center needle. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now
that is so effective.
Yeah, isn't it? So let me show you something else now. Let's do turn this round. Let's do a row. So this time I'm going to use the reinsertion technique, which is when you reinsert the end needles into the last perforation that you made. So I'm going to make 1 5-needle perforation, and I'm going to put two needles back into the last, if I can see what I'm doing. There we are, 2 needles back into the last holes that I made. So all I'm perforating now is 3 needles at a time. 3 needles, okay? Can you see? So it's move that over. It's a continuous row.
Yes.
So 2 needles back in the end there. It's difficult for me because I'm not over my work. Let's see, there we are. Because I can see a bit better now. I can hear them slipping in, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you're not sure, put your 5-needle tool at an angle and draw it back until it clicks in. Listen now. Yeah?
Oh, and yeah.
Push your needle tool back upright. So if you 45-degree angle, pull it back, it's clicked in, and put it back up to perforate.
Right. Oh, that's a really good tip.
Gone off a bit there. So we perforate in a row.
And is this the same design that's in the bottom right-hand corner on the pattern?
Bottom right-hand corner. Which one do you mean now, Paul?
On the book.
Oh, yeah, that's a continuous line, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going to show you something different with that as well. I'll show you how to do that one. So I'm going to do another row. So you can see I'm correcting the position of my needle tool every time I get those 2 in. You can do a border with just a row of 5 needle tools without doing the reinsertion technique. Just leave yourself a little gap. Can you see?
Yeah.
You can still do a border, but you're leaving a gap. You're doing that by sight, aren't you? You're going to leave and try and leave, oh, that's terrible, that's wonky. Not really. I'll show you how wonky that is now. Look how wonky that top one is.
Oh dear.
Right, okay. Now then, let me show you something different then. So get my embossing mat back. Take that out of the way. And I've got, right, that's the front, okay? So I'm going to turn it over onto the back. But let me show you this first. So, right. That's a 5-needle tool along the border here.
Right, okay.
I'm using the reinsertion technique. Okay. What else can I show you on there now? So if I bring my enlargement in, I think it helps when you see it enlarged. It really is enlarged. I took take the glasses off for this one. Right, okay. So you've got two options here. So this is what I've done. We've got two continuous rows. Okay. Yeah. So you can either emboss a dot around every other 5-needle perforation, because you see there's no dot in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, or you can emboss a dot in every one. If you emboss a dot in every one, you cannot do the 5-needle tool with a twist, because what will happen is you'll twist that way and you'll twist that way. So this is the way your hole will open up.
Yeah.
And then when you do it here, you'll twist that way and you'll twist that way, but then you'll twist that way. Okay?
So it will release.
So believe me, you will not get a cross in there. It'll just be an awful mess. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to leave that as it is. I will show you how it looks. It does look awful, but I'm going to emboss. I'm going to twist the one with every other. Okay, so we're going to twist that one that way. All right?
Yeah.
So there's no twisting of that middle, the one in between. Yeah? So, right, so let's emboss. So I'm going to emboss a dot. I'm not going to do those now. I'm going to emboss a dot in every other one. So you have to concentrate on this when you're perforating, because the tendency is to go in every one and twist, and then you've spoiled what you've done. Okay, I'm going to do this one exactly the same, because I'm going to show you two different ways.
I mean, even just doing that little embossed circle is quite effective.
It is. You don't have to use the twist. I mean, with these little embossed ones with the twist, they're nice. They're really nice as an infill. So I've done my embossing, so I'm going to take my embossing mat away, back on my pico foam and my thick mat, and I'm going to turn it over. So I've embossed on the back and I'm going to perforate on the front. So with this one, I'm going to insert the 5-needle tool in. Okay. There we go.
It's surprising how that groovy guard can really make a difference.
Makes a huge difference. Sometimes, you know, your needle tool doesn't go in properly. Just give it a little twist and turn it round a bit, because sometimes they are a little, if you've been twisting a lot with your needle tool, they do sometimes go out of alignment a little, ever so slightly, not something that you'd notice. So I'm in the third, and I'm going to twist to the left, twist to the right. I'm going to avoid that one, and I'm going to go in the next one, twist to the left, twist to the right. So in that one, twist to the left, twist to the right, miss the next one, twist to the left, twist to the right, miss one, twist to the left, twist to the right. Okay?
That's so effective.
Yeah, isn't that lovely? Now then, what you need to do, because you've only gone in every other one, you can take your one needle tool and just reperforate the ones that you didn't do. Okay?
Yeah.
So if I was to do the middle one, that's what I get.
Oh dear.
Okay, so you've got to remember that you cannot twist 2 5-needle tools next to each other. All right, so
Yeah.
moving on to the next one. Instead of twisting the embossed one, I'm going to twist the unembossed 5-needle perforation.
Right.
Okay, and you get a totally different look. So in, twist, miss the embossed one, twist. Don't twist this too much though, or you're going into the embossed bit. Twist, miss the embossed one, and twist. So you're now getting totally different look.
Yeah, I mean the one at the bottom has got more of a cross effect, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's totally different, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't
And
think.
that's all to do with the positioning of where you reposition and then do the twisting.
Yeah, yeah. You can twist a 3-needle or a 4-needle, but it's a lot smaller and you've got to be very careful. With the larger tools, you know, the semi-square and things like that, and the angle, you can't twist those. But anything that's circular, you could possibly twist it.
I suppose because you've got that pivotal one in the middle of the design,
yeah,
it acts as an anchor.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to show you now a little border. I'm going to bring my pattern in. So we're going to use the pattern now. I'm going to take my thick foam mat and I've got my pico foam, I've got my pattern, and I've got my piece of parchment. So I'm going to rub my tumble dryer sheet over the parchment, and I'm going to, I think I might show you, where's my little border? So, yeah. Right, we're going to do this one here.
Okay.
Okay. And it will
look, the one at the top.
It will actually look. Let me show you the sample I've got. It will look like that.
Wow. It reminds me from a sort of a distance, as if you've embroidered seed beads onto the design.
Yeah, yeah. And now you can see within the design as well, we've got 5-needle with a twist. See, it fills the gap really nicely.
Oh yeah.
There's another 5-needle there with a little flower around it.
Gosh.
Okay.
That's a lovely sampler.
Well, I mean, you can put all your needle tools into one sampler. I think it just adds a lot of interest. Right, okay. So I'm going to stick my, having rubbed my, did I turn it over? I don't know. Did I turn it over?
You haven't turned it over. No, not yet.
I have not. Right, okay. So I'm going to stick my parchment down my groovy tabs. And I'm going to do this pattern here. Now then, shall we use a ruler? Maybe. Let's see. I think if we use a ruler, just to get, let's do that. I would say we could do the middle first. If you're going to use a ruler, I would do it by eye. If you can't see and
Right.
you want to use a ruler, do the middle row first. But be careful if you're doing the middle row first that you can actually see what you're doing. So let's do that one. So we perforate shallow, yeah?
Yeah.
This one there. Be careful about your positioning now, because it's quite crucial with something like this. Now when you go to do the top and bottom row, I would say rather than try and follow those, just put your one needle into that one and one needle into that one. Move that a bit closer for you to see. Is that better?
Yeah.
No. I would put one needle in there and one needle in there to do this top bit. Okay,
Right.
these bottom needles now have to fit. So I've got one in there, one in there. Lift the tool up and perforate. It's very important that you don't make extra holes. So I'm putting one needle in, two needles in, and then perforating fully. Is that clear? Yeah?
Yeah. Are you able just to twist slightly away from you so you're at an angle? Is that okay, Linda?
Yeah. That way or that way?
The way you was going.
That way.
That way. Perfect.
Yeah? Okay, let's see
Yeah.
how that works. I can always turn it back if it doesn't. So I'm putting, engaging one needle, engaging the other needle, and lifting the tool upright.
That's
It's
it.
better than second guessing where it should be. Engage one needle, put the other one in, and upright. Okay? So
Yeah.
because I got a good line of sight here now, instead of going to do that top row, I'm going to actually turn it around, because this angle suits me fine. Put it down a bit.
It's what you get comfortable with, isn't it? And again,
Yes.
the idea is to obviously enjoy it and make it easy for yourself.
So on this one, I'm only engaging one needle. So
Yeah.
there we are. And on that one, I'm engaging two.
So that was a really good idea to sort of perforate that middle row first, because then it creates the anchors for the outside edges.
That's right. And that one is slightly out with me now. You can never get them spot on, but I'm going to go my gut feeling, and I'm going to be out a little bit. But no, in the overall pattern of it, nobody will see. It's more important that you engage those needles. I'll lift it up now for you to see. I am slightly out, but once you emboss and cut this, no one's going to know that you're a little bit out from your pattern underneath.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find that's the best way to do it. So I'm going to.
I suppose otherwise you sort of panic and you think, oh, I've gone off slightly. As long as it doesn't continue to go off, I suppose, because if you can see that you're going off slightly, so you correct yourself as you extend that border.
Yeah, correct it as soon as you can. Otherwise, you're going to go off a lot. And you've always got that little bit of wiggle room, like I was telling you before. You know, you can give it a little shove in one direction or the other direction. So I'm bringing back in my embossing mat with my piece of cello on top. So there's my perforation. I'm going to turn it over now to emboss on the back. So let's have a look at this pattern. Let me show you. There it is.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got 5. There's the middle row that we did first.
Yeah.
There's the top row. Okay, so we've formed this V shape. Okay, so we're going to be embossing a dot in the center of every 5 needle tool. Okay. You could twist some of them if you want, or I would say steer clear from twisting these. Not at this very early stage. No. And then we're going to cut right around the outside edge. We're going to cut in the dip, and we're going to cut. You can see which way those picos form. Those are going that way, those are going that way, and those are going that way. So the scissors is always going to be over this part. I'm going to cut with my scissors there. I'm going to cut that way round.
Yeah.
If I cut this way round, the picos are going to be on the bit that's falling off. I'm going to have a lovely bit of waste with some picot cuts on. I'll show you that again in a minute. So we're going to emboss a dot. So I've got my 1.5mm ball tool, and they emboss quite easily because I've already rubbed the tumble dryer sheet over. If you forget to rub your tumble dryer sheet over, you can do it at this stage, but you will be left with a few little fibres that stick to the rough edges of the perforations. You're forever pulling little fibres off then, you know. It's quick. It's easier to do it in the very beginning.
It's just getting into that habit, isn't it? Just think, right, I'm going to do some perforating. Before I do the perforating, I'm going to wipe the parchment before I get started.
Yeah. If you know me well, you'll know that that's the bit I always forget. So on my notes at the side of me, my first note is tumble dryer sheet first in red, because I don't want to give you all my bad habits. Oh, dear.
Again, it just comes together so easily and so quickly.
Well, the dots are quick because you're not doing up and down, back and forth, round and round, because you don't have to do that with this. Does that take
Because you're not worried about, because you're not worried about creating a donut effect, are you? Because you're going to re-perforate.
And you know, if you've got hundreds of little dots to make, then every couple of seconds you waste doing an up and down. It just adds 10-15 minutes onto your work, you know. So that's the back, all the dots are done, so I'm going to turn it over. And because I'm not going to twist, I'm going to do it with a 1 needle tool, because it is always neater if you re-perforate with a 1 needle tool. It makes a big difference if you use the one. So groovy guard and 1 needle tool.
And this is just the 1 needle fine, isn't it, Linda?
This is the 1 needle fine. So what you could do, if you had a mind to, you could use the bold. I got a bold. You could use a bold in the middle one. That's quite nice.
Oh, yeah.
But do that
Nice
last. Okay.
A nice big donut.
A big donut, yeah. I'll do that one now, and then you can see if you like it or not. If you do happen to push your embossing in a bit, you could take a finer tool and then just push it back out a bit from the back.
So if you get carried away and you really perforate deep on those center ones.
Yeah. Sometimes they can become concave rather than convex, and it can look strange if you've got 1 or 2 that are like that. That one is a bit off center. It looks like sooty. I looked at it. It looks like sooty. From where I'm sitting.
It's funny the things we see, the way our mind plays.
Right, okay. So I'll hold it up for you to see. See if you like the 1 needle bolt.
Yes, it's very subtle, but you can see the difference between the bold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can see Sooty there.
Oh.
It does look like Sooty, doesn't it? Just him, Mummy. He's got two little paws and his nose is on the skewer. Oh,
Yes, Linda.
okay.
Anything you say, Linda.
Right, okay. Now then, I'm ready to cut. Okay?
Okay.
Then, okay, let's go this way. So I'm going to cut. So you've got to be careful when you're doing these. I'm going to cut all the ones in one direction. You've got to do it gently. I would suggest that you actually hold your dot.
So you're just doing the picot cutting above the top of each of those embossed dots at present.
At present, yeah. I'll do that little bit first now. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do all the uprights. So I'm going to hold it.
I suppose the more picot cutting you do on this particular design, the weaker it becomes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and I'm going to turn it around. So you've actually got a choice here. You can either cut in the dip or you can go straight across. So I can go straight across there. If you're not confident enough, you could go straight across there.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to cut in the dip on live TV. And if it goes wrong, then...
But when you think about it, again, people watching from home and we're practicing, it doesn't matter if it falls off or it's not your masterpiece. It's all about the practicing and seeing whether it's something that you like or whether... Exactly. I don't think that you can't do it. Some people can't do it first time and you're not expected to do it first time. This is the whole point of the Pergamano school. Is to have this one-to-one, basically, free tuition from Linda, where she can talk about this is where you can go wrong, this is how you can do it, maybe try it this way. So it's giving you all those different choices.
Now I'm finding this scissors, my ring lock scissors, is performing better for this. I always try different things, you know. I've got different scissors. I use the different ones, the snips and the scissors. But this ring lock scissors is incredibly sharp, and it doesn't shift the parchment for some reason. But and my favorite is the other one. But the ring lock is actually good for this. So I've done all the top ones. So I'm going to do. If you find, right, that your work isn't that tidy, try again and make your dot in the middle a little bit smaller.
Right. Okay.
And then if you twist and your dot is large and you're not twisting very evenly, you're twisting your scissors, or when you're cutting, not twisting, when you're cutting. If you find you're breaking the dots or they're ragged, try making the dot a little bit smaller and then practice a bit more and try making the dots a bit bigger as you go along. But use smaller dots first and try it like that if you're finding that you're not getting good results with this 5 needle tool. So let's have a look. Have I cut them all now? Let's see.
See, it's not until you do the big reveal that it will really sort of jump out.
Something hanging on there. Let's see it.
And never pull it. Is that right, Linda? If you think you've got a little thread hanging on, never pull it.
No, it could be just the finest of little little threads hanging on, and you could ruin the work if you pull it.
Wow, look at that. That is beautiful.
So you can see
it's quite a regal look to it.
It is, yes. So you can see all these points are pointing upwards, all the side points are pointing to the sides. So you can see how. I mean, I could have just cut one, turned it, cut one, turned it. But if you actually do that, I mean, if you're starting out, then yes, by all means, do it that way. It's very time consuming, but if it gets your head in the right space for which way your cutting should be, but that's the one in the dip, and that is that one there.
So that's that one at the top, just above the wording of the perforating tool.
Yeah, that's that one. So if I show you this one, this is just this one there. It's just an extension of that one. Oh, I've lost a point there. Oh, it's hanging on for life. Look.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
Well spotted.
So that's just the same thing, but it's a double one then.
Right. Okay. Before we just jump on to the next one, can I just give a shout out? I've got a Pergamano show on. Just while you sort of regroup a bit, Linda.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got TV on Thursday and Pergamano show on the craft store at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And we've got some beautiful new designs from Tina Cox. So these are the lovely doodle landscapes. Let me just swing that into that camera there. There we go. So we've got a set of 4 beautiful designs. So again, I love these. You've got the lovely sort of the landscape, and then the girls in the office worked their magic and created these extra borders and frames as well. And when you see what the design, I'm not going to give you a sneaky peek, you have to tune in, but what the design team have done, I love this one. It's sort of like a rolling hill type site and these clouds. So I've got that show on Thursday, so I hope you can join me on the craft store at 11 and 3, and then I'm back again on Friday, and I'm going to be looking at the beautiful 12 Days of Christmas from Barbara and her beautiful rhyme time groovy and stamp sets as well. And Friday it is at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those shows ahead, so before we let Linda just sort of regroup and carry on. Okay, so let's hand it back to the lovely Linda. Oh, this looks fun.
So this is that border that we've just done. This is the one I showed you earlier, remember?
Oh yes.
So that's the border actually on a project.
Okay.
So
that's lovely.
This is the said border in stages. So
right.
We've got, there it is, perforated. This is one. So you can actually do it around your nested squares or wherever. So there it is, perforated. There it is. No, that's it. Sorry, this one. There it is with the embossed dots. And you can see the difference after reperforating. So that bit there hasn't been reperforated, and that has.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we have it, all reperforated. And there we started to cut out. And there it is when it's cut out.
I think it's lovely just as a little corner, and then where you've then continued the design with just straight picot cutting.
Well, it's always easier to do that, Paul, because you know you're going to get your corner in, but when you start at the corners, is it going to meet? You may well be a little bit out. So I think if you're starting out, and unless you're actually working from a pattern that goes all the way around and shows you exactly where you should be perforating, it's always best to have a little strip in the middle with your 2 needle perforations, just to It looks nice, doesn't it? I think it's
It does, yeah. I think it makes that border sort of stand out a little bit more.
yeah. And this is my sampler. I've shown you this before, but this is my sampler that I've got with all the needle tools in. So you can see we've got where is it? There it is. That's the 5 needle tool with a twist on my sampler.
Beautiful.
Okay. And then you've got, remember the 4 needle we did last week?
Yeah.
4 needle there, 5 needle with a twist. And then we've got a combination of 5 needles with a twist. And then we've got 4 needle there, just a plain 4 needle border there, 4 needle there again, and that is a 4 needle. So you can see how endless the possibilities are. And we've got different ones then. We come into those later on, the heart and the semi-square. And see, there's that little 3 needle with the little embossed edge.
Oh yes, I remember that one from the other week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got the 3 needle in the middle of that little flower there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
beautiful.
Right. Oh, and this one as well. This is what we're going to do next. This one.
Cool. Okay. It's like a trellis effect, isn't it?
Yes. And you've got that in the middle, and then you've got that border there again.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm going to take my. Have you got time for one more? Yes.
Yeah, it's 1:45 at the moment. So yeah, absolutely.
Take my Picoform, my pattern. It is embossed on. It is. It has got the tumble dryer sheet on the back because I've used this piece before. Micro tabs. Right. Remember, I always do a test piece to see if the tool is straight, and it is. Yeah. So I'm going to do these freehand. You can use a ruler if you like. Groovy guard again.
It's amazing how, because obviously I'm guessing the more needles we use, not harder, but you need a little bit more pressure to actually perforate the parchment. And without that groovy guard, it really does show how you can go wrong slightly, couldn't you? Because of the pressure you're applying on the soft mat.
You press your parchment hard enough on a soft mat with your needle tool, you can actually create little creases in it. So it does spoil it somewhat. So it's nice to, and the holes are never uniform if the parchment is moving, you know. So I'm just going to do a few there. I'm not going to do them all. So we're not reinserting them here now, they're just a few rows. Okay.
Okay.
I think we've covered this tool quite well today, don't you?
It's been, yeah, I mean, again, it's sort of, it's getting these little, because we can see the designs obviously within the book itself, but then to see sort of the translation and how you apply that, for me, the visual effect, I'm getting so much from it.
Good. Right, so turn it over to emboss, and we're going to emboss a dot. So I'm going to use my groovy guard again. So, right, that's better. So dot in the middle. Remember I said if you wanted to, you could perhaps, let's get a smaller tool. No, I'll stick to that one, but you could just redefine your little dot. And if you're not managing to cut it neatly, just make your dot a little bit smaller and try it that way. It'll come, I mean, you'll get used to it, but if you're going to cut around, try and steady that embossed dot, because you are actually cutting into something very close to your embossing. And the parchment can sometimes tear. Because what you're ending up with really is a dot with picot cuts around it, aren't you? All right, so what we're going to do next, I'm going to join those up. And then I'm going to use a one needle tool to join up those corner perforations. Use my ruler, take my one needle tool. I'm going to put the ruler right across diagonally. And I'm placing the ruler almost over the holes.
Right. It's that very fine, sort of very delicate scratch, isn't it?
Yes. And it does make a really nice, bright, white line. You could use a 0.5mm ball tool for this if you're not confident enough. The space is quite large here. And when we've done it before, the space has been quite small. So you would have struggled to get the 1mm tool in there.
And again, like anything, if this is the first time you're seeing this sort of technique, practice, just get the pressure right. And again, the cello bag underneath really acts as a very good sort of resist, doesn't it, Linda?
Definitely, yes. You will know how much pressure to put, and it doesn't matter if you flatten those holes even with the one needle tool. What you don't want to do is get the one needle tool in a hole and drag it across.
And drag.
Yeah. You'd be sorry if you do that.
That's a whole new technique.
Oh, we've got this lovely new technique coming up, haven't we, eh?
Ah, we have indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a look at this then, and then we'll tell everybody. Well, we won't tell everybody. We'll just explain what's coming up over the next few weeks.
Okay. So there you go. So we're going to turn it over now. You can see that's really neat.
Wow.
Reperforate with a twist, shall we? Yeah, because we can.
Yeah.
So
it gives that real quilted effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Adding in those little lines.
Yeah. Right, okay, so third in, twist to the left, twist to the right. See if I can. And the secret is here to try and get them all, those twists, the same length. Yeah, equal.
Are you able just to pull it a little bit towards you, Linda, and then just tilt a little bit to your right? You know how you had it there? There we go. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Okay. It's actually better for me too. I can see it better now.
But again, just you wouldn't think really. I mean, it's very clever, these multi-needle tools that, as I say, when we first bought Pergamano back in the day, and we looked at all the tools that we were inheriting, and I remember me and Barbara, we had one of each of the tools, and we looked at it and said, well, it's just got a load of needles in it. What do we do with this sort of thing? And it was and so we were puncturing the parchment to see what they did. Oh yeah, well, that's a heart. But again, because we didn't have that knowledge, and all we were doing, the groovy guard, we were just literally sort of stabbing the parchment just to see what it looked like. And we looked at some of the designs and said, well, that's not very good. And then obviously along comes Linda and says, well, this is what you need to do, and this is how you do it. And all of a sudden, sort of like a heart multi-needle tool actually looked like a heart, rather than just all these perforations in a piece of parchment.
I remember Rob and I were on holiday in Madeira, and I missed a phone call from Barbara, and she sent me a message. I really, really, really need to speak to you. Hold me back. It's actually from Madeira, and she said, we've been offered to buy, we've had the chance to buy Pergamano. What do you think? Oh, I said, go for it.
And it's great. I mean,
the boss of Pergamano obviously knew that Barbara was the right fit for this. That's why he actually found her. He knew she was the right fit. There we are.
Again, since we've, beautiful. I love that. When you put it in context in that design, that finished piece of artwork you showed us, just in the middle of those beautiful flowers.
Yes.
Again, it just adds that extra element to it.
Yeah, and I mean, how many are there? 3, 6, 9, 13.
Yeah, and when you think that that design in the middle has the tool that's created that has also created that border around the outside.
Yeah.
But it looks so different.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it was the same tool, would you?
No.
Yeah. There we are. Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So let's have a look. So let's go. There we go. Oh, one. Wow, my head is just going boing, 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 boing. We've learned so much today.
Good.
So what we've decided is that Linda's working on these beautiful, beautiful new designs that we're going to launch at the beginning of September. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a little break from the Pergamano Summer School. And next week, we're going to go back to Groovy Tuesday. And what I thought we'd do, we'd go back and we'd pick up and look at some of the other areas to do with parchment craft that we were covering as part of Groovy Tuesday when it first started. And that was going back to basics and just introducing different skills. And what I thought we'd do, we're going to have a look at the plate that we've worked with in the past, which is Linda's beautiful 1, 2, 3 butterfly plate, because there's still so much more that we can do with that. And I mean, I'm looking at these open areas in here, Linda. I think that 5 needle tool with a twist would work perfectly in those areas.
It would, yes.
Just to add a little bit of background.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what we're going to do, so next week when you come back, it's just little old me, and we're going to go back to basics. We're going to let Linda have a rest and work on these designs that you are going to fall in love with. It also gives Linda a chance to regroup and select what the next one we're going on to. And also it gives you at home an opportunity to have a bit of a catch up. And so what you can do is you can go back and watch all the previous episodes, and you can think, right, I didn't quite get that. So rather than moving on to the next one, let's go back and revisit. And I'll try and do that in some of the shows that we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks. And we'll go back and we'll revisit, and I'll say, right, Linda did this in class number 3 or class number 2. And then again, you can go back and say, right, well, what did Linda do with it? So I thought it'd be a good idea to do that. Don't you agree, Linda?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think you mustn't lose sight of the people that perhaps don't want to do the needle tool work and want to do just use the groovy plates. So you've got to cater for everybody here, I think, And right. I mean, needle tools every week can be monotonous. So it's only perforating, embossing and cutting. That's all it is, in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes when you get like an overflow of knowledge and stuff like that, you can become overwhelmed with it, and you can think, whoa, it's too much. So we're going to have these little breaks throughout the volume 1 book. And myself and Linda have already planned when we're going to do those little breaks again. So you can jump in, you can jump out, and we'll put it on all of our social media. We'll put it on the website. So you don't think that you're going to miss out, and we'll send you the e-shots as well. But it just gives you a chance to sit back, breathe, and have a play with what you've learned so far in the Pergamano School. Because what Linda's showing us at the moment is just a tip of the iceberg. I mean, to look at that sample that you just showed us, Linda, that lovely pink piece, that one needle tool created that beautiful pattern on the middle, but also around the outside. And that's just 2 parts that you've showed us within the book, isn't it? So
that's right. Yes.
Again, I mean, so we've looked at this one here, which is at the top. Then we looked at this one here. And this one was the one where you sort of did freestyle.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, there's all these other different areas that you can look at and say, right, well, let's have a go at this. And don't forget to share it on Groovy and Clarity Worldwide, because there's always someone there to help.
We're seeing some lovely samplers. I mean, people are doing the whole thing, and I'm seeing them using them now in their projects, and I always find it satisfying when someone says to me, "Oh, I bought the book, but I just didn't have the courage to use it," you know. And yeah, they bought the book and the tools, and they just didn't. They read it, but didn't have the courage to actually put it onto the parchment. So I think that's great.
It's fantastic, and I think we're, as crafters, we're all sort of prone to doing that. We buy it because we see that something's done with it, and then you get it home and you look and you think, oh, where do I start?
Yeah.
So then to have the Pergamano school, to have these that we can go back as a video tutorial, you can stop, you can start, you can fast forward, rewind. Oh, what did Linda do there? So again, to have that knowledge from the person that's written the book as well. So it's not as if I've come in and said, well, Linda's done this, Linda's done that. You've got the author and the expert there giving you that guidance.
Brilliant.
So I think, look at that, spot on 11 o'clock. So
coffee.
Time for coffee, definitely. I've got my empty cup here. So a big thank you to the lovely Linda Williams. Next week, it'll be me, and we'll go back to basics, and we'll try something a little bit different. I'm going to have a play over the weekend and see what I can come up for next Tuesday, so that it doesn't matter what level you're at with your parching, then I'll have you covered. Fingers crossed.
Good.
And we will see Linda in a few weeks' time. We'll keep you updated. So again, a massive thank you to Linda. Don't forget to join me on the craft store on Thursday for the Pergamano shows at 11 and 3. And enjoy the rest of your week. And I'll see you next week. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.